Why are you complaining? You never paid rent anyway, my dad scoffed. Oh really? I laughed, then I cancelled the mortgage payment I had been covering for years. Now they're facing eviction and crying to me for help. Why are you complaining? You never paid rent anyway, my dad scoffed. Oh really? I laughed. Then I cancelled the mortgage payment I had been covering for years. Now they're facing eviction and crying to me for help. She uttered the words plainly, without any prelude, without the slightest hint of remorse, as if she were making an offhand remark about the weather. We're giving them your room, my mother declared, carefully slicing her bagel with the utmost precision, as though she hadn't just pushed me off a ledge with no warning whatsoever. At 25 years old, I was still living under their roof, employed full-time at a warehouse, trying to save diligently, so I could eventually leave without financially crippling myself. Every paycheck required delicate balancing. Some money went into savings, some covered bills, some contributed to household groceries. And then there was the water heater I had paid for last autumn, which nobody seemed to recall had come from my pocket. I wasn't taking advantage of anyone. I was simply lying low, navigating the situation cautiously and silently, existing as though I occupied borrowed territory. All right, I responded, even managing a faint smile, just enough to mask any sign of unease. I'll start packing up my things tonight. In that instant, I made my decision. I was done. It wasn't truly about the room, it never is it? That room was merely the final piece in a crumbling wall. The breaking point, that shattered the illusion I had maintained since my teenage years. That house had never really felt like mine. I was merely a convenience, much like an appliance that functioned quietly in the background, until it either malfunctioned, or became an obstruction. That morning, I still went to work as usual, but something deep inside me had already shifted. I wasn't coming back, not permanently. I didn't mention anything to anyone. Instead, during my lunch break, I scrolled through rental listings, found a modest one-bedroom apartment, just 10 minutes away from my job, and immediately placed a deposit, 6 months' rent paid up front. I had been saving for something else, perhaps a car, perhaps a future that didn't feel like exile, but this felt like the right decision. That evening, I returned home as I always did, still smiled when my mother asked me to take out the garbage, still fixed the Wi-Fi when it disconnected mid-dinner, because my sister needed it for her online lesson, but in my head, I had already walked away. And that night, I started systematically unraveling every responsibility I had shouldered for them. I started with the lawn. Every Saturday morning for the last 18 months, I had mowed it, edged the borders, raked the clippings, and even reseeded the bare patches in spring. All without being asked, all without acknowledgement. Years ago, my father had taken care of it, but the moment I was old enough to handle the mower, the duty had silently transferred to me, no gratitude, no recognition, just an expectation. That weekend, I let the grass grow. The rain from the previous week had already made it tall, but I didn't touch it. I walked right past the shed where the mower sat, and instead drove off for coffee, treating it like any other day. When I returned, my father was standing in the front yard, arms folded, glaring at the overgrown lawn as though it had personally offended him. You forget to cut the grass, he asked, already sounding annoyed. I merely shrugged. No, just didn't feel like it. He blinked as if the concept was incomprehensible to him. So, you going to do it later? Don't think so, I replied nonchalantly as I walked past him. I'm Busa. It was the